much have a river in our backyard.
We got a lake in our front yard, but it's pretty shallow. All right. Come on. Technical difficulties, always technical difficulties. There we go. Says that I'm. There we go. Okay. Now everything's fixed. Everything's running properly. Oh yeah, that's what I'm dealing with is um, nice. All right. Uh, oh, we're off the just chatting screen. I guess I could jump into a game, huh? I don't know what to play. So how's everybody's Tuesday been? Now that we've gotten everything fixed and I've got all of the no plan for today. Honestly, no. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. I have no plan for today. I didn't even realize what time it was. Came home. So I was out running DoorDash for 8 o'clock. I started about 8:30 and ran till about 10:30. Made $20. Apparently, Mama Dreams has her own personal DoorDash driver. Because she sent me as like I want a biggie bag, a junior bacon cheeseburger biggie bag from Wendy's and a strawberry lemonade.
Yeah, and the lemonade was disgusting.
Apparently, the lemonade wasn't very good. That wasn't my fault.
They put too much in it.
And I stopped by Speedway and I got her a Reese's cup. One of the caramel
me.
big cup, king size too. Put that in there. Zach says, Donnie, I have a joke for you. Let's hear the joke, Donnie. Let's hear the joke, Donnie. What's the joke, Zach? Ukulele for worship. What is up, ukulele? How's ukulele doing? Actually, we need to get a shout out for ukulele and Zach. How crazy would it be if you had a puddle behind your house and a train drove through it? That would cause a tidal wave. It would have to be a pretty. You should not dash the door. Yeah. Especially if it's a sturdy door. You could end up getting hurt. Rossi said, let me tell you something, brother. Ukulele for worship is slamming down some serious devotionals and Christian tunes. 24-inch Python style. From whispering sweet nothings to Jesus on Tuesday to charity streams on third Thursdays. They're keeping it cozy and family friendly. And don't you forget about the egg hunt giveaways. It's a party every week, so what you gonna do when Ukulele for Worship runs wild on you? Ukulele is a fellow Taco team member. She does have some early streams. Python style, what? Yeah, you got the guns. That's what it is. You got the guns. It's from strumming the ukulele. Oh, I didn't even see Hypno in chat. Anyway, as I was saying, what I've been doing is I'll drop my stepson, I'll drop my stepson off at school, go to the gas station, put gas in the truck, and then just hit the dash now. I might take a quick break where I'll grab wife something to eat and drop it off to her, and then I'll head back out. Today, first hour was kind of slow. I only made like $20. But then I went out from 11 to 3:30, and 11 to 3:30 I made like 70. So in 18 hours of dashing, I have made 260, no, 200, about $260. There's, whenever you talk about DoorDash, one of the things that people say, well, what about wear and tear on your vehicle? Yeah. That stinks. But I think one of the things I have that I can honestly say is that I can actually deal with most of my problems with my vehicle. Most of them. And it hasn't been bad. Blanca's, I figured she actually brought out some Python sometime or something. I'm not up that early. I'm normally not up that early. 260 from how many hours? It's about total of about 18 hours dash time. I think it's about 16 hours active time. That's on a Monday and Tuesday too. So I'm normally going out during the weekends a lot better. And I mean, I figured it out. If you actually take gas into consideration, it's really only maybe a little over 11 or $12 an hour. So like it's not the greatest. Michael says, I used to make roughly $800 a month when I delivered for Waiter, but I worked it very part-time. It was a third job at the time. Spent $200 a month on gas. Wow. So far this week I've spent 60. One of the things, and this may be a benefit, or at least a small benefit anyway. One of the things that you can do as a Dasher is you can apply for the Dasher Direct Card. And it's actually a business MasterCard, business Visa, one of the two. And whenever I get anything at a gas station, so anything at all, if I get a pop, I will get cash back. Like, I'll get a cash back word. Yeah, I've been doing the number analysis. I've been like kind of crunching the numbers too, Popper. It's I don't want to crunch it too much or I'll start to get depressed. What is up, Laura? How's Laura doing? Laura 14002 is actually a streamer as well. Made roughly $12 an hour. It's not bad. Doing it on Monday and Tuesday, running it on Monday and Tuesday is not exactly the best analysis of the dollars per hour. If you want to go the real Laura says, I had a rough day today. I'm sorry you had a rough day, Laura. Is there anything that we can pray about? You know, I'm pooped. Wouldn't necessarily say that I had a rough day, but I will say that I'm pooped. Michael is redeeming prayer requests for Laura. Since I don't know specifics, I will do general, kind of like a general prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I just pray for Laura. Since she had a rough day. I can feel that. Like, I can understand that. For me, the struggle's been real. It's been hard to continue to press on. It's been hard to continue to push. And one of the things that I consistently see over and over and over, Lord, is how you were there. How somehow I'm managing to do something that some people say doesn't work. How I was able to witness to my son's friend today. I hope I didn't turn him off too much. I'm completely in awe how powerful you can be and how much, Lord, that you're watching over me. I pray, Lord, that you give Laura that same confidence. I pray that you remind her that even in the rough days, you'd be there with her. Give her strength. Give her perseverance. Or give her tenacity to look at even the worst days and say, I'm not going to give up. Father God, I pray that you wrap your arms around her. You strengthen her, that you bolster, that you give her strength, confidence to speak boldly, to proclaim boldly, my God has got this. Even in situations like this, to speak to the storm and say, peace and be still. To know that you are our peace in the middle of the storm. To know that you are our fortress no matter what waves may be crashing against the rock. You're with us. Pray that you comfort her. I pray that you ease her. We lift her up to you in your loving arms. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen. Laura says, yeah, please, if it is okay that I explain here what happened. Yeah, it's fine. Honestly, I'm not like... I have nothing against trauma dumping as long as it's not like, you know, I'm coming in for consistently, you know, coming in for pity party and all of that. I understand, like, we all have bad days. We all deal with things. And having a chance to talk about what's going on and, you know, to put our burdens on others, you know, that's biblical. It's, I can't remember the exact verse, but it's they like, we are to carry one another's burdens, and we are to lift one another up and carry their burdens, or something like that. So, you know, more than we, all layers, Laura, Or, well, I guess in this case, all eyes. Ukulele's got it. Galatians 6:2, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. I was way off. I always remind people that we can't bear one another's burdens if we aren't honest and open about our troubles. Very true. That is very true. Just something happened that got me upset. I feel that. You should see some of the drivers in Muncie. I think I want to get into some more Valheim. That game's actually been kind of fun. Did you have a good Easter Sunday? I only got to see a small amount of your service. Before it needed to... Yeah. We actually did. Trying to think. John... Honestly, I'm totally drawing a blank on what Pastor was on. So what happened was I was in conversation and the other person wasn't giving me a chance to say something. And they just ignored me completely and kept talking. I felt like I was being ignored. I would say I can be guilty of that sometimes, but yeah. That's the bad part, is I can be guilty of that sometimes, and then I don't like it when other people do it to me, so... I need to... I need to... I need to work on that myself. That's what it was, John 14. That's what Pastor was at. It was John 14. I knew I could... I was thinking that's what it was. So... It talks about leaving his orphans. entire sermon, but around John 20, very nice. The pastor's sermon was about the Holy Spirit and the Helper. I'm totally sorry that you felt like you were ignored, Laura. Ukulele. That's frustrating. My hubby tends to do that sometimes. I say he wants to give a whole presentation, not have a conversation. You know, honestly, I think that my wife might say the same thing. I would honestly think that my wife might say the exact same thing. EG wife, how's EG wife doing today? Okay, now that's cool. And enigmatic glitching. EG wife and EG. How are you guys doing today? Jeremiah says, which is the passage about the empty tomb, and it lined up perfectly with a consecutive series we've been doing on John for like a year. I had extra instrumentation, and my pastor said it was seasonal, so maybe the new instrumentation will remain for all of Eastertide. What exactly is Eastertide? I thought that was like Palm Sunday and, you know, Palm Sunday through Easter. Easter Sunday until Pentecost. Okay. Not even for sure off the top of my head that or what the day of Pentecost is. Popper, it'll be May 19th. Okay, cool. In the past, I like hearing myself talk, but after I spent time focusing on listening to people and talking only to ask questions, I have learned to listen at least twice as much as I talk. And I really like listening to others. It was a real chore to force myself to listen. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I need to focus more on the listening aspect. Like I know that I need to focus more on the listening aspect. I tend to talk a lot. Maybe it's I couldn't blame it on stream. You know, it's like I got to keep on talking, keep on talking, keep on talking. Don't let the dead space be there. Sometimes that's a failure too. In fact, it can be a failure a lot of times. Definitely seems to be a guy quality. What, the listening or the talking? Popper has lost 3,438 brain cells and is 136% crazy. Kind of off topic, but have you played any tabletop RPGs on stream before? We have. Actually, I was running a... tabletop RPG. I was actually running a campaign through the Undermountain on stream through Roll20. Talking is a guy quality. I would honestly say no, because I have met women that will talk your ears off. Laura says sorry for being quiet. Conroy is what failed to set RAM speed, but installed Arc Remaster for Game Pass so I can see how bad it renders. Tabletop role-playing game, or something like Dungeons and Dragons, or there's a talking over people as a guy quality. Again, I would disagree on that. I think it's just depending on the person. There are both men and women that do the same thing. If a person tends to be confident about what they're speaking about, or if they tend to be what would be called an extrovert, or even if they're placed in a position of authority, they can sometimes very much tend to talk over people. Poppers, that's what I was told when I was in college playing D&D. I've heard it too, trust me. Michael says Popper guilty as charged. Roman 3:23, right? Yep, Dragon was one of our players in the Undermountain. It was fun. We haven't done it for a while. One of the struggles was getting people involved. You can ask Dragon. There were more than a few times that we got into D&D, and it was like maybe him and my son, the streamer formerly known as Phoenix. EG Wife has lost 4,910 brain cells today and is 47% crazy. No, that's not too crazy. Honestly, after the past couple of days I've had, I'm surprised I'm not more so. Blanco's 103% crazy, has power level of 64,417. This is imperfect now. I don't know if I'd ever be perfect. That's one of the things that I personally don't understand is the idea that we are perfect as soon as we're saved. You know, we're still imperfect, saved by the perfect Christ. That's where I stand on it. Enigmatic Glitching is 108% crazy today. Michael Java's trying to get in there, and it's like not working for him. Laura tried to get in there, and it looks like it didn't work for Laura either. Goes well with Augustine's concept of libido dominati, which is literally lust for domination. For him, that is what distinguished the city of man from the city of God. The way he described positions of authority causing people to have behaved certain ways lined up well with his writing, so that was good. Yeah, yeah. It could be the fact that there is a cooldown on that. I think there's like a 60-second cooldown. So if it doesn't happen once, you might try it again, Michael. How does that work? All right. Whatever the number is, I'm sure it's 50%. I feel that. Honestly, as I said, with the days that I've been having, I'm honestly surprised that it's not. Mine wouldn't be like way up there. Treasured is 155% crazy today. Popper says I can attest personally that someone is saved. They are not perfect. I'm about to celebrate 1 year of sobriety after a 2-year relapse, which followed 4 years of sobriety. Laura says, Donnie, I might go. I am tired of this evening. Just hope to have a better day tomorrow. Absolutely, Laura. By all means, go ahead and lay down. Get some rest. I'd be tempted to go lay down and get some rest after the day, the past couple of days. I've been like grinding, insane. But absolutely, Laura, go ahead and go lay down and get some rest. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I do hope that you have a better day tomorrow. Do you believe that entire sanctification on earth is possible as Westlands and people like them teach? Are you asking me that, Jeremiah? Actually, I don't. I do not think that entire sanctification is possible. Because the way I look at it, the way that I look at it is that the minute that we start to say that, I've completely been sanctified. You know, the minute that we begin to say that I will never be, I can never fail again, I can never sin again, then I feel that we're guilty of the sin of pride, and technically guilty of lying, because we don't have the authority to say that. It's even a pastor, even somebody who's been out doing it 60 years. I feel maybe, may come across something that might get him a little angry, get him a little frustrated. And according to Christ, is just being angry at somebody is basically the exact same as murder. And kind of what Michael's pointing there is, if it were possible for us to attain perfection, we wouldn't need Christ's sacrifice. Nice. I mean, yeah, I've had some issues with phone text too. Don't feel bad, Popper. Jeremiah says, I agree, but I haven't thought about it too much, to be honest. My tradition is usually sided with you on this, and my confessions deny entire sanctification. I haven't, though, read Wesley on the matter. But I much want to. So I don't want to be dogmatic about what I've hardly read about. I mean, I would be interested in what I would really be interested on what Wesley said, and I'd be kind of curious. Like, to be completely honest, Jeremiah, I try not to be dogmatic about anything. Yeah, it's biblical. It is biblical. Right there is 1 John 1:8. If we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. Chad has now heard 17 trains this month. Another train is coming, that long black train. When is a matter of much debate. Yet even Peter spoke of the last days. Repent and believe the gospel. The gospel is this. It means good news. Bad news that we've all fallen short of the glory of God. Yet Christ was the redemption for our sins. He paid the price to redeem mankind from his slavery to a sinful nature. Turn from that long black train and turn to the perfect Lamb of God. Jeremiah's a plain account of Christian perfection was his work about the subject. He never claimed entire sanctification for himself. If that means anything. So I wonder why the Wesleyans turned that into dogma. I don't know. We could probably talk about doctrinal things and all of that for hours. Yep. He taught that it was possible. He just never claimed to achieve entire sanctification. Well, so here's the thing. Why would we consider it? I guess this is what goes through my head. if you claim that something is possible, yet you can't claim to achieve it, I mean, or show that somebody has achieved it, I guess. And I feel like it becomes problematic. Like, if I claim that it's possible to divide by 0, but then I can't prove how to divide by 0, I'm pretty sure that he thought certain biblical characters achieved it. I know Paul had the thorn in his side. And, you know, like, one argument for what the thorn in the side was the Judaizers. But Paul had a thorn in his side. John was the longest lived disciple. And while John is, you know, penning his letters to say that if we claim to have no sin, then the truth is not in us. Yeah, I feel like John's saying, hey, you're gonna mess up. Like, I think he thought Job had entire sanctification until he lost it toward the beginning of the book. Thought you could fall from entire sanctification. Okay. The thing is Job didn't have entire sanctification. The book of Job is a man who was basically doing the works of God. And then it fell on ill repute. Technically, he was, if you really want to look into it, Job was actually kind of prideful in a lot of things that he said. And so was everybody else. The only person that was humble in the book of Job was the young kid. Yeah, I guess that could have been it. But one of the things is, you've noticed, if you go back and you read Job, in the beginning, Job only talks about God. That's the interesting thing. Like, the entire beginning of it, Job only talks about God. It was only until about chapter 13, maybe 14, that Job begins speaking to God. And really, in the book of Job, like, Job's one of my favorite books. In the book of Job, it was that moment that he quit talking about God and started talking to God, that things really started turning around for him. Oh, I'm not going to quote you on any of it. Yeah, if I was going to quote something, it's like I'd quote the source. Or at least I try to, anyway. I don't know. I'm not a theologian or anything. I'm just a dude on the internet. I'm just a talking head. Let's go ahead and like jump into some gameplay. Let's jump into some Valheim. Arms sore and tired. I need to jump into. Just a question. Are you against using chosen pronouns and names? And if so, why? Oh, wait, this is supposed to be Steam. And this was supposed to be Valheim. Hold on, let's see here. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Okay, so just a question. Are you against using chosen pronouns and names? And if so, why? Well, the Dragonheart does point out something very specifically, is we are all using chosen names. Like, Dragon's real name is not Dragon. Blanco's real name is not Blanco. The chosen pronouns, I'll say that's a good question. I personally feel the only people that should be called they, the only person that could literally, I personally feel that the only person that can legitimately call themselves they is somebody with multiple personality syndrome. The idea of gender being on a spectrum, what are you using to define gender? That's the question. If you're saying specific roles, well, isn't that what the whole? I thought that was what the whole feminist movement was about. Was to say that men and women are, women can do the same thing that men can do. To say that, say, if a guy likes to bake, that he shows female tendencies. But isn't that being stereotypical? Or to say that if a woman likes to work on cars, that's something that goes with the male gender. Well, aren't you being stereotypical? Like in our house, I'm the one that cooks most of the time. At one point in time, I painted my fingernails. Does that make me more of a female? I don't think so. It's the whole, like, trying to separate gender and sex and trying to make them into two different things is completely confusing to me. Because we've been on this push for the longest time to, understand and to realize equality for male and female. And now it seems like this whole gender thing, in my opinion, we're becoming more, more sexist than they were in the 60s. just because we're wanting to define certain traits to certain gender sites. It's just completely confusing to me. Achilles, how's Achilles doing tonight? You haven't go the game that I posted in you to your wife a few streams ago. I have not. No. I will need to if you're in that Discord, or if you can send me a link and a whisper, Achilles, I will check it out. We tried to open it through OBS and it would not open. We ended up. I think my wife's last stream was just chatting. But yeah, we couldn't get it to download. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go ahead and whisper it to me, and I'll see if I can get into it. What if by using someone's chosen name and pronouns could help someone feel loved and accepted enough to stick around a church where they could be exposed to the word? Well, I don't have any problem, as I said, chosen names. Like, I have no problem. If you want me, if you want me to call you Ty or whatever, that's fine. If you want me to call you Ace, that's fine. But one of the problems that I have with the chosen pronouns thing, and I'll specifically say this, one of the biggest problems that I have with the chosen pronouns thing is a lot of people that claim, well, you have to use my chosen pronouns, you have to use my chosen pronouns, will go around calling God her. And if a person wants me to respect them enough to use their pronouns, why can't they respect God enough to use his pronouns? Or another issue that I've seen many times is they, whether it be male or female, they will refer to me as a cis male. That's not my preferred pronoun. My preferred pronoun is male, plain and simple. But yet you want to constantly refer to me as cis. I'm like, this is a new thing. I've never heard of it. Cis, the first thing that I think of as sissy is, the first thing I think is cis is sissy, and I'm not sissy. I'm a guy. It's the idea, and this is kind of, yeah. Well, then they can plainly say actual male if they want to do that. Yeah, you don't have to be fancy about it. The it is the idea that and this is like, I'm not trying to judge or anything. Like, I'm really not. What do you mean? Who am I talking to? Who you be talking to? I've seen many. So I don't really have anybody that I know that is really in that. I do know that my daughter is dating a young woman who is trying to be, trying to claim that she's a guy. And my daughter will use the term cis. I mean, other than you, I mean, I'm talking like there's nobody that I know really that much in my, my actual life, not my online. That's what I meant. Honestly, like when it comes to online, I really don't assume gender. Well, not necessarily. Honestly, when it comes to online, I really just basically everybody's a guy. I'm a dude, she's a dude, he's a dude. We're all dudes. That's the way I look at it online. It's easier that way. That's the way I look at it online. When it's face to face, there are certain characteristics that I could probably use to judge whether you are male or female. There are people that I may come across in passing that I can see, but in that, and Lord forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but I tend to use the idea that if they don't talk to me, then I don't need to talk to them. Um, and I've possibly been the one that will probably, you know, the what was the Macho Mam Randy Savage. If we remember that meme from the longest time ago, I would probably be the guy that looked at that and said, "Sir." But I don't know. It's a touchy subject. It really is. And the best thing that I can say to that is I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, and also I'm not the one that really steps on eggshells all the time. I don't like stepping on eggshells. I don't like tiptoeing around. Yeah, I've always been blunt. I've always been upfront. I've always been honest. Sometimes brutally so. And and the way I look at it is my entire life, nobody's given me the benefit of the doubt. Nobody showed me special treatment. I try to be loving. I try to be caring. I'm here for everybody. But it is the idea that when somebody says, I'm transitioning, the first question that pops into my head is why? What makes you want to do that? And normally the answer is, well, it makes me feel better. The next question is, why? And when you get down to it, this is just my own feeling is when you get down to it, what really comes into the nitty gritty is it is this concept that certain traits belong to certain sexes. I'm going to throw the gender out. It comes down to the fact that certain traits belong to certain sexes. But that is what we have spent the last 60 years trying to get rid of. So why are we bringing it back? I mean, if you're a guy and you like to have nice hair, if you like to wear nice clothes, if you like to look good, there was a term for that back in the day. It was called a metrosexual. And it wasn't necessarily the fact that, you were any less masculine. I'd actually argue that they usually feel better once they get the hormones. I would actually argue that they don't. Look up Chloe Cole. If they do, I feel that if they do, sometimes it's really just a placebo effect. Because there are thousands of cases out there and people that have gone through gender transition surgery for issues like depression, and they say that once you transition, you're going to feel better, and then they transition and they find that they're not. The Poppersnut says, I have personal experience with this as my son is deceiving himself in transitioning based on conversations I've had with him. He acts like he is in a cult. He demands I use his pronouns despite it violating my moral stance. There are over 50,000 people who are detransitioning. Prove it? The rates of detransition were higher in women than men. Most common reasons cited were pressure from parent, transitioning was hard, too much harassment, discrimination. Okay, yeah, we're. Recent review of 20,000 studies involved almost 8,000. Of course, this is going to be the first. And of course, National Institutes of Health declares that it's rare. Of course, Google is probably not going to be the best. We really want to get the. We've got a DuckDuckGo. Of course, this is probably what's going to end up getting me canceled. Newsweek. GOP-led states. Study cited Dutch research from a few years ago that is based on clinical filing studies to adolescent and child gender had dysphoria who received puberty suppression, gender-affirming hormones, or both. Dutch research found that none of the youth in adulthood regretted decisions. 2021, 27 said reported a history of detransitioning. A majority of those who detransitioned said just okay, so they're going to say that it was influenced by external factors. I don't know. It's I know for 100% fact that hormones took the dysphoria away. I know for 100% fact that a person can take a sugar pill and call it a cure. It's called the placebo effect. I'm not saying that it's not. But Popper said John Hopkins studied post-operative results of sex-change patients. They found that while patients were pleased that surgery went well, they were no happier than before surgery. They also found the suicide rate increased 20 times, not percent, based on the results of that study. They stopped doing sex reassignment surgeries. St. Isidore talks about the former kind, saying the word hypocrite is derived from the appearance of those who come on the stage with a disguised face. We change the color of the complexion so as to imitate the complexion of the person they stimulate. At one time under the guise of a man, and another under the guise of a woman, so as to deceive the people in their acting. Transgenderism seems to be a graduated, self-directed form of this. You missed my prior chat. Okay. Okay. I know you have known more than I can count. Unfortunately, it's also invariably women who fall into this delusion, as I've seen a few exceptions, though, or girls rather. Okay, I got you. Oh, the one about the simulation. Follows from their invalidity that we shouldn't accept changed pronouns because we are not to bear false witness against our neighbors. Is that the one? Oh. Well, when you've got a made up mind, what's anyone to say? So you don't believe in using chosen pronouns, and your reasoning is unclear. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that my reasoning is unclear. My reasoning is that it's propagating a lie. And if if that's a problem, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the idea that to continue to push the idea that a man can become a woman and that a woman can become a man, the only thing that is doing is propagating a lie that will end up leading to either the man or the woman becoming infertile and it doesn't help anything. It's the idea that if a person has schizophrenia and they think that the TV is telling them to kill them or if a person has schizophrenia and the people they think that the TV is telling them to kill themselves or to kill others, do we affirm that? Gender dysphoria is in the DSM-V as a mental illness. And just like we don't tell somebody with schizophrenia that the voices inside their head is real, I feel that it's propagating a lie to confirm the fact that somebody who has gender dysphoria, that this idea that they can be a different gender than what they are, or a different sex than what they are, is propagating a lie, and it's contributing to a mental illness. And if that's going to end up getting me canceled, then fine. That's going to end up getting me canceled. Jeremiah says, I don't believe in using pronouns because the reason is it violates the ninth commandment. As Aquinas taught, every action bears on justice because we live in a community, and to do good is directed by promotion of the common good. Using pronouns pronominally is deeply injurious to the common good. That's what I was saying. I'll leave you with this. I was treated as a woman for months in a Christian environment. Simply put, the ending led to me accepting Jesus and giving all my sins. So if you choose to die on that hill, just know there may be souls you missed. Well, look, here's the thing. If a person wants to confess, if a person wants to say, yeah, you were part of this community, I never said one thing to you. Okay? You were part of this community. I never said one thing to you. I stated my beliefs. Okay? I am not judging anybody. If a person if that's the stance that a person wants to take, and if they want to continue, it is not my place to judge. That's all on God. And I would tell you, along with anybody else, it's not me you've got to answer to. I don't care who you are. In this community, you are treated as a part of our community. Now, as I said, in my mind, anybody online, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude, we're all dudes. Okay? I've got the woman that I care about. That's what I care about. My wife is my wife. I could care less about any other woman. But that you asked me where I stood. I was answering where I stood. Just stating my perspective, if you look on TikTok for transgenders who accept God, they are mostly all passing trans, meaning they more than likely lived a while in the church as the opposite sex. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you really want to go and put it, we'll just do the military. Don't ask, don't tell. But you specifically asked my stance, and that's my stance. As Blanco says, you forgot to say hey at the end. Fellow Med says, be careful what questions you ask in life. Remember, you might get an answer. Yeah, it's like when somebody says, hey, I got a question, it's like, hey, I got an answer. Let's see if they match. I do not remember the song Blanco. I did. I'm sorry. Jeremiah says I'm not worried. Oh, that's the one I missed. I'm not worried about missing souls per se. God will save all He intends to save. The only thing He assigned for me is to fear God and keep His commandments. Yeah, that would be the Calvinist perspective. I'm not worried about the answer. It's a common answer. Well, and here's the other thing is That's one of the reasons why Jesus chose 12 people. You know, he didn't choose one. And you say I might miss souls. Well, let's go. I'm going to go back to the very basics. I'm going to go back to what Christian Ninja taught during the taco class. Is you need to focus on what your audience is. And I wouldn't necessarily say that my audience is people who are transgender. Truth be told, I would say that honestly my audience is mainly men. Like, one of the things that I specifically understand is that men need to have a male role model. And we have to have a strong male role model. Somebody who's got a little bit more head on their shoulders than Andrew Tate. Because if that's what passes for man, then I feel sorry for the women of the next generation. There's a massive thing to unpack there. And Brother Dottie Dre, wait, what? What is OBS like freaking out? What'd I do? Treasure Leds, this thought line makes no sense. Actually, it makes perfect sense. Yes, OBS is totally freaking out on me. I'm a bit confused too. Honestly, Varric, I'm a bit confused too. Anyway, what I'm gonna do, Treasure, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut this conversation down. If you want to continue this conversation, there's the controversy chat in Discord. Because this is not that's honestly what I should have done to begin with. I should have shut this chat down, and that's what the controversy chat in Discord's about. So yeah. Anyway. How's Varric doing? And I don't know why I think OBS is messing up and everything's messing up. Varric says doing well. How about you? DoorDash going well. DoorDash it's going. I am literally working myself to death. Put in 18 hours in the past 2 days. I've made $250 in 18 hours. And yeah, it's going. Tired. Honestly, I was thinking about going out tonight. One of the things is we really need to get ahead. That's been the biggest part, is we really need to get ahead. And be there soon as in working myself to death. Oh, dude, that stinks. That stinks. I don't know should I shut down OBS and restart it?